It is an exciting time to be thinking and talking about Indonesia. Just consider the following. With over 260 million people, we have on our doorstep the world's fourth largest country by population, a young country with a median age of just 28 years old. Indonesia is experiencing a period of rapid economic growth. This is creating an affluent middle class of highly connected and well-educated individuals, families and businesses. In fact, within 5 years' time, Indonesia's GDP, currently running at around 5% a year, will surpass Australia's. Some key questions. What makes Indonesia a unique place to do business? How do you go about building local support and developing a network? What are the common pitfalls to avoid for foreign investors? And on the flip side of that, what are the key learnings for business entering and operating in the Indonesian market? And where is this growth? What are the sectors to look at? What are the changes in regulation? And let's name those emerging trends.
Obviously, Jakarta serves as a very special place as the hub for ASEAN, where all the ASEAN Secretariat is located. So for business, it's not just a matter of bilateral relationships with Indonesia, it's also about opportunities for us to work together and explore other markets in broader ASEAN and beyond.
What do you see as the unique characteristics of this market?
I think it's the people.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about the volume. There's a lot of people there. It's more than 260 million people. But it's also the fact that, for example, Indonesia is a mobile-first country. They've basically skipped the fixed line technology and went straight to mobile. Everybody's got a mobile. There are more mobile phones active in Indonesia than there are people living in the country. And it also is a country where people are excited about new stuff, trying out new stuff, trying new technologies, which means that for any business trying to sell something new, great green field.
And a great receptive market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of young people.
The advice that I would be thinking about is from my own personal experiences. I mean, we can see that an organization as large as Telstra and as experienced as Telstra has a partner going into Indonesia, NPT Telecom. So anybody that's coming into that market needs to be thinking of the same sort of mindset. So when I worked with AWE, which is an oil and gas explorer, we created an Indonesian board. I mean, it wasn't a board in a formal sense, but it was a group of very well networked individuals, and we could use them as a sounding board for the different sorts of decisions we needed to make. And they provided us with insights about what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing in that marketplace. As the people you associate with will have long-term ramifications. So there's a lot of great people in Indonesia, but there are also instances where you can get yourself into a situation where you're in a competing area with someone who you're already collaborating with, and all of a sudden, because you haven't done your due diligence, because you haven't understood the dynamics of the marketplace, people in Indonesia are saying, why are these people doing these sorts of things?
So you haven't understood the networks?
We haven't understood. So the problems is on the Australian side, we didn't understand the environment we were walking into.
Australians, we can be very transactional. If we've got a widget and somebody needs a widget, we think it's just as simple as signing a contract. But with our Indonesian friends, again, it's much better to form very close and deep personal relationships before you even start talking about business. And then you're doing business with people you know and like and trust.
There is some red tape, and there are lists of you have to register your products, and there are different sort of cultural issues that a lot of Australians mightn't be sensitive to.
That is getting better, isn't it? A lot better.
It is getting better, but when people come in, they think it's like China, for instance, and it's not like China.
Okay.
Obviously, the fixed networks and the basic infrastructure is heavily regulated. Anything that uses government resources like frequencies and stuff. But on the value-added side, and then it comes back to the e-commerce and digital services side of things, there's a lot of openness right now and a lot of things that people can do.
The opportunity to sell services into that space around technology provision is very, very, very real. I mean, there's obviously other opportunities we'd be looking at. I mean, around environmental services, things like that. Again, you've got a large population with a lot of issues around energy and consumption of energy and how you deal with waste. So we're seeing lots of opportunities in that space.
I think the country has changed a lot, and we've talked about this, right? But also in terms of regulations, it's so much easier now. Also the fact that Indonesia really does welcome foreign investment, and that's something that people who've tried this 30, 40 years ago might not know, that right now it is actually quite open. And you mentioned the Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board. They've got this one-stop service where you can just go in and get 12 licenses done in 3 hours. It's across different parts of the government. From a telecom Telstra perspective, it is definitely the right time to be in this market. it is a market that is ripe for digital transformation. And what is very interesting for us is that the consumers have made that leap. They have all transformed digitally. They want to do everything digitally if they can. Companies have not yet caught up to the scale that they have in Australia, which is where the sweet spot for us obviously is. We help companies we help them transform digitally and serve those customers where they've already gone or want to go. Indonesia has always lagged behind in terms of number of foreign tourists coming into the country compared to Malaysia and Thailand. That is now changing. The current government is extremely serious when it comes to promoting tourism. And that obviously for Australian businesses also opens up a massive opportunity.
There's a lot of niche opportunities that pop up around healthcare and in other spaces that mightn't be huge at a national level, but are certainly very lucrative to the organizations that are pursuing them.